Awareness. Welcome, everybody. We are recording this session. Please, if anyone has
Hello, Mahmuda, you can mute yourself. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you well. We can hear you.
We lost Mahmuda. Hopefully she will join us soon again. Just as Mahmuda was saying, today is another great day. We're really looking forward to it. There are a few things we're looking forward to: masterclass and interactive session at the end. We'll start with the panel session today. After the panel session, we'll be going into the masterclass. So people that are registered for the masterclass, you will log in, separate login details, and join the masterclass. And after the masterclass, please rejoin us on this same link as well. For those people who didn't register for the masterclass, we'll be on this same platform with some entertainment before the people that are participating on the masterclass. So that's what's going to happen today. So I'll start now with a video of one of our speakers who was not able to join us yesterday. So hope you get inspired by her presentation.
I apologize for my sudden departure from the meeting, but I'm back. Jude, thank you so much for holding the fort. Okay. Jude, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. If you're not speaking, please mute your microphone, please.
Thank you. If you could kindly allow me to share my screen, Jude, and then we can continue. I thank everybody for your patience. And like Professor Jude has asked, if everybody who's not speaking can kindly mute their microphones. This would also be a great chance for you also to test if your cameras are working, because at some point during the seminar, we're going to invite you to allow us to share your camera so that we can take group screenshots. So if you can just mute your microphones and then test your video options. Let us know in the chat box if your videos are not working so that we can go ahead and try and see how we can allow you to share your video. At this point, I'm just waiting for Jude to allow me to share my screen, and we will dive straight into our second day of the Jimha Stress Management Revolution Summit 2021. Thank you all for your patience, and it's wonderful to be with you once again. Thank you so much, Jude. I'm now able to share my screen. So on behalf of Global Youth Mental Health Awareness, I would like to welcome all participants to day 2. So Global Youth Mental Health Awareness has convened once again the seminar for the second year running. It looks to be bigger and better than last year's, and plans going forward promise that the next year's summit should be excellent as well. So we want to thank Global Youth Mental Health Awareness for bringing us together once again. I am Mahmuda Khan, your summit moderator. I'm also a Jimha ambassador, chairperson at New Hope Foundation Zimbabwe, and I am also chapter guardian for child rights at Global Let's Talk. Our host organization for this event is Global Youth Mental Health Awareness. So Global Youth Mental Health Awareness is a not-for-profit organization which was launched in Australia in 2019. This was in response to the growing need to communicate and engage with professionals and the youth of communities, speaking to issues around youth mental health and the stigma associated with people who may seek help. This meeting is being live streamed, so please kindly let us know in the chat box if you're not comfortable with this. But going forward, we want to make you feel comfortable. We invite you at this stage to ensure that you've got a glass of water. If you can also make sure that maybe you have a snack with you so that you can feel comfortable as we spend the next 2 to 3 hours together going forward. Stress Management Revolution Summit 2021 brings together the world's most renowned humanitarians, psychologists, neurologists, psychiatrists, allied health professionals, political leaders, community leaders, youth activists, artists, and researchers who share openly to improve the mental health of youth inside and outside the corporate world. In its first revolution in 2020, the summit had more than 1,000 registrants, including youth and industry professionals from around the globe. In this second revolution, here is what we have for you. Over 60 panelists and speakers from top industry bodies, corporations, and policymakers. We were able to meet with a lot of those yesterday who delivered some powerful presentations, and a lot of our participants were able to partake in the breakaway rooms that took place for the masterclasses. We also have first aid for equipping youth with ancient wisdom practices to stay in mental balance for lifelong application. Mental health awareness is a global network of professionals whose vision is to make psychology a household term and to be an advocate for raising awareness and improving youth emotional and mental health outcomes. JIMHA aims to empower anyone, especially those experiencing psychological health problems, emotional turmoil, adjustment issues and concerns without any stigma or prejudice. JIMHA has identified some key objectives for the summit in 2021, amongst which we aim to teach methods of stress abatement in situ through first aid, role plays, and counseling. We would also like to facilitate organizations to make meaningful approaches to stress and mental health issues. And we also want to help you, the participants, to learn how to live by self-regulating health and removing stress from your lives forever. So what can you expect today on day 2? Live musical performances and poetry recitals, quiz competitions and award ceremonies, as well as the opportunity to take part in our interactive question and answer sessions. There will be a certificate of participation made available upon request, and you'll be able to request for such a certificate once you email jude@jimha.org. So for any further inquiries or sponsorship, please feel free to contact Jude at jude@jimha.org. There are also going to be available some opportunities for global scholarships. And also today we have a powerful masterclass in store for those who have signed up for it. If not, please drop your name in the chat box and make an inquiry on how you can participate in the masterclass that we have on form today. If I can just ask everybody to mute their microphones, I do have some interference coming through. We have a jam-packed agenda today on day 2. And amongst our speakers today, we'll be hearing from the likes of Sita Sangaran, Xavier Ifyong, Dr. Nipa Choksi, Dr. Pramed Rajput, Gayatri Sankaran, Dr. Madeline Gomez, and Mireille Tulekimia. We will also be going into our masterclass. And in the masterclass today, we will be hearing from Karen Chaston, Victor Purton, and Kunle Palemo. And our topics in discussion in the masterclass are around grief and loss, optimism and habits, and peer counseling. So make sure that you have signed up for the masterclass, not to miss out on any of the exciting things that we have on offer for you today. Without further ado, I want to say thank you to the host organization, JIMHA, and our partnering organizations. So to the JIMHA Board of Directors and Special Advisors and Planning Committee members, we say thank you. To our partnering organizations who've come aboard once again this year to make this event successful, we want to say thank you to Empowering Your Soul Magazine International, The Big Comeback, Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation, Victoria Government, Ethnic Communities Council of Victoria, Wellbeing Health Retreats, PB Global Advisory, Mandate Health Empowerment, Greek Astronomy and Space Company. We also want to thank Center for Peace Advocacy and Sustainable Development, Wheel of Hope Rising Foundation, Blessing Obani Foundation, AfriCause, New Hope Foundation Zimbabwe, Supportive Activists Foundation, Priors Foundation, Live and Not Die, My Care Buddy, as well as David Smile Dance, who put on a wonderful performance for us yesterday. We're going into a recap now of what happened in yesterday's session. So yesterday we heard from the likes of Joseph Msika, Masuchi, Niharika Harithma, Raj Kumar Singh, Edith Wanyoni, Edwin Kibe, Bobby D'Souza, Beatrice Dukwa, Loretta Chitope, Jasmina Sidorovsky, Peter Beda, Anthony Neal, and Laura McAndrew, as well as Dr. Francis. There was a panel that was absolutely fantastic and delivered some insightful nuggets around mental health wellness that a lot of the participants were able to take home with them. We had a wonderful presentation. It was a whole interactive dance session by David Smile, and we thank him for that wonderful event that we had yesterday. We also were able to launch our Jimha t-shirt. We were speaking to Vivian about the psychological first aid course, and Professor Jude Edeyai managed to speak to us a little bit about this t-shirt that we launched. And once you purchase one of these t-shirts, you're able to contribute as well to the work that Jimha Australia is trying to do in the area of mental health. Vivian came on board and spoke about first aid around mental health. And Deepshika was also with us talking about the course that she has designed that is being made available to the participants at this year's summit. If you check your chat box going forward, we will be dropping in the links for these global opportunities and scholarships, amongst which we have Center of African Studies, Leventis Fellowship course coming up on the 31st of March 2023. There are also opportunities at British Council SSA Arts Cultural Exchange Program, which is open. There are job opportunities under Johnson & Johnson, Changemakers Innovation Challenges, and all the links for these will be made available in the chat box. Please take note that we'll also be having a quiz competition, opportunities for a group snapshot, and a feedback form, which we would love you to fill in so that you can actually take part and receive some of the freebies that have been made available for every single participant at this year's event. We want to thank once again all the sponsors and partnering organizations for putting together these wonderful packages for us, amongst which Katinda has a confidence and self-esteem book that she is making available. We are also going to be talking about the online course, Workplace Youth Mental Health online course, which is available at the link in the chat box. So be sure to look out for upcoming events as well, such as the Jimha Annual General Meeting in October. So these are some of the notices that you will be able to see in your chat box that we will be posting during the course of today's summit. We welcomed you with a short video, but without further ado, I want to invite Rance Lazarus. Rance will be giving us a wonderful music performance to kickstart today's events. Rance, if you're with us, are you able to unmute your mic and say hello to the audience?
Hey guys, can you guys see me and hear me?
Yes, we can. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Hi, Rance. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Fabulous. So I hear you're going to give us a wonderful music performance. Tell us a little bit about yourself and then dive straight into it.
Yeah, so I'm an artist from Melbourne, Australia, and I last year started putting out some music, doing some songwriting. So I'm just focusing on my music at the moment, trying to get myself out there. Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoy the little song I have prepared for you today. And a big thanks to Jude and the whole organization for inviting me on here and just giving me this chance to perform for you guys.
Oh, you're most welcome. The floor is all yours and we're sitting back. We're going to relax and enjoy this musical presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, so this song is called The Truth. And it's a song I released this year from my latest EP called The Truth. And it's a song about the reality of life. And so as I grew older, I realized a lot of truths about life. And well, there's no better way of saying this, but along the way, we are going to have some grief, experience grief and loss. And, you know, like there's nothing we can do to stop it. And also along the way, you know, we might lose some friends. But again, like, so as simple as it sounds, it's going to be okay. Like whatever happens in life. And you'll find that somewhere along that road, there's going to be a light that guides you through the darkness. So yeah, this one means a lot to me, and it's called The Truth. Hope you enjoy. Just let me know if you guys can hear the guitar and my voice.
We can, Rance, clearly.
Yeah, we can.
Cool. All right, here we go. I found out yesterday that everything might change if only I could press replay. Then everyone would stay, 'cause time keeps flying, loved ones keep on dying. Don't you know that's true? No time to say goodbye, maybe last time we spoke outside, and that's the truth. I found out yesterday that your friends don't always remain. So caught up in life, what can we do? But I don't blame you, it's my fault too. And as time keeps flying, your best friend stops writing. Don't you know that's the truth? There's no sign of a shooting star. I wanna wish to go back to the start, and that's the truth. Oh yeah, the truth keeps shining over me. I wanna block it out so I can't see the way it looks me in the eye. Tell me I won't be fine, but I know that I'll be alright. Because somewhere along the road, there'll be a light. Now the truth may only hurt for a while. If you're getting worried, all you gotta do is smile. Don't think about it all night. Trust me, it will be alright. And that's the truth. Don't fight 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 the truth. Thank you very much, guys.
Oh my God, that was absolutely fantastic, Rance. I tell you what, you made me bring out mine.
Ooh, lovely. Maybe
That
you
was
should play a song too.
Oh no. I'm still at beginner level, but I tell you what, it's really calming and it de-stresses me to learn how to play the guitar. And I only know 2 chords so far, 2. But it's okay. By the end of 10 years, I may be at your level, but I want to thank you because that really calms the whole situation down. It really lifts the mood in the room. And I think everybody, if you check the chat box, it's going absolutely crazy. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Don't forget to... Sorry,
what was that? Oh, what was that?
I was saying, don't forget to drop your social media handles because I'm sure you've got a lot of new fans coming from the summit.
Will do. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure having you here. I think everybody will agree with me that Rance is just absolutely excellent. So we thank you. Please do stay with us for the rest of the summit. And we hope to also hear from you. Maybe later on in the day, you can give us a performance as the day progresses. Thank you so much, Rance. Okay, I'm now resharing my screen as we move forward. I'm not going to delay any further, but I just want to really say, you know, I can see the chat box going crazy. We've got participants from Tanzania, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire. We've got Kenya, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Australia. We've got representatives from the United States of America, Liberia, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and Rwanda. And some of these are also people that have come forward and were with us yesterday. I want to greet you all. I don't recognize and I don't know all your native languages, but Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Siyabonga, Shalom, Ni hao, Uhali gani, Koyo hujambo. Welcome to the day 2 of our Global Youth Mental Health Awareness Stress Management Revolution Summit 2021. At this point, I want to invite Ambassador Blessing Obani. She's also going to do a musical performance with us. Are you with us, Ambassador Blessing? Kindly unmute your mic and join me on the platform.
Yeah, I'll be showcasing the recording video for Blessing Bayamin presentation.
No worries. You can go ahead, Jude. I'm handing it over back to you.
Thank you. Please let me know if you can hear.
Yes, I can hear it. Wow, that was so powerful and so touching. I can see Ruto's with me saying so touching, and Takiru Timani PA saying it was amazing. And love makes the world go round. And, you know, the song asks this pertinent question throughout the chorus: where is the love in your heart? And love is what's going to bind us, and love is what's going to make us move forward together. So thank you so much for sharing that amazing video, Professor Jude. And I'm sure all the participants here, you know, it's really jolted us into the reality. Those images were very touching, and it really shows the state of the world that we're in today. And it's just something I want to touch on, in that in the last year or so, probably a little bit more, we've been inundated with a lot of, you know, heart-wrenching images on social media. There's been a lot of stress that's come through on social media. And this is what some of the speakers were talking about yesterday. If I can just touch on what Professor Bida was saying yesterday in his presentation when he spoke about inequality. And he spoke a lot about racism and the impact of racism on mental health. And Peter Bida also spoke about how right now we are really open to a lot of stuff because of social media, but he was talking about therapy and getting help. And when he spoke about choosing a therapist, one of the things he said is that it's important for us, all of us are working in the mental health arena, and all of us know somebody who might be reaching out for help. But he gave us a nugget that I felt was very useful. And he said, when you're looking for a therapist, look for somebody who can provide cultural safety. He said, look for somebody who understands your professional or personal background and who understands the cultural nuances so that it doesn't produce more shame. And he also spoke about the story that's attached to our brain and how it influences the way that we deal with trauma. So usually a lot of the time when we've got a negative story around the trauma, it makes it more difficult for us to move forward. And through therapy, changing this story into a positive story then helps us navigate our future a lot better. So yeah, that song just reminded me of what Peter Bida was talking about when he spoke about how we are just inundated with social media. So we're going to move forward now. Just hang with me while I share my screen with you once again. So that was a wonderful music rendition by Blessing Obani. So we thank her so much for submitting that for us. Okay, so we're moving straight into our day 2 panel around the theme, developing a new workplace environment where stress is handled proactively. We want to here insert a recorded video presentation by Dr. Rosanna. So I'm going to once again hand over to Jude to share this presentation with us. Jude, are you able to do that from your end?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm Sandy, and I'm thrilled to be here and have the opportunity of sharing my message with you. Now, you might be thinking, who is this lady? Well, I'm not a psychotherapist, I'm not a coach, and I'm not a medical doctor. But I'm someone who went through a burnout, who suffered of depression, anxiety, and PTSD, and experienced the stigma associated to mental health from someone very close to me, my mom, who at the start of my journey advised me not to talk about my condition. Long story short, I heard her, but decided to do exactly the contrary, because there should be no shame, no fault, no guilt if you're affected by mental health. And besides, it could happen to anybody at any time. So with the idea of talking about overcoming life challenges and mental health issues, I started a podcast back in May, and in less than 3 months, I've been in conversation with well over 40 extraordinary people who share their life stories and lessons learned with me. So in the next few minutes, I'd like to summarize 3 of these lessons. First of all, we are talking about stress. Now, let's face it, a bit of stress in life is okay, but when it affects every day of our life, we need to release it to avoid escalating. Simple acts like deep breathing or tapping on specific points of the body, like for example, the collarbone, can help us to feel better, at least for a little while. So lesson number 1, stress is the manifestation of a misalignment between our highest values and what the external world expects us to do. Grounding technique like meditation and journaling, when done daily, can help us understanding whether or not we are living a life on purpose. Lesson number 2, stress or worse mental health develop when the right external factors combine with the right internal conditions and create what I call the perfect storm. External factors may be major things like traumas, losses, significant breakups, problems at school or work, like for example, bullying, but also apparently minor things, especially with children, words that can affect their sense of worth and create a programming inside them. And that brings me to the internal factors. What do we think of ourselves? Do we have low self-esteem? Do we lack self-love? Do we have a low sense of self-worth? Do we think of not being enough, good enough, bright enough, white enough, dark enough, striped enough? You are enough. So you might wonder why these external factors and internal conditions can create the perfect storm. I'm going to use an analogy here. Imagine a seed that is transported by the wind. This seed can fall on a rock and die, or on a fertile soil and thrive. And this is true whether the seed produces a beautiful plant or just weed. Now, I don't know you, but in my garden, I only want to grow beautiful plants. Now, imagine that the seed is the external factor I was talking about. The wind is life, and we are the ground. Depending on the nature of the seed, we must decide whether we want to behave like a rock or like fertile soil. This means knowing what serves us and what doesn't. Unfortunately, if we have low self-esteem, no self-love, a low sense of self-worth, we are unable to understand what serves us and what doesn't. So cultivating self-love is absolutely paramount. And I put on the side a few points for you to consider later. Lesson number 3, whether we like it or not, life happens. So it's paramount to become resilient. In difficult conditions, there are 3 ways people normally behave. Some may look tough, but during challenges, they literally melt down. These are the people that go through life behaving like victims. You can recognize them because they ask these empowering questions. Why is this happening to me? The second type of people is represented by those who are toughened by challenges. These are the survivors. Now, being a survivor is better than being a victim, but it's still a struggle. The third and final type of people is made by those who manage to understand what is happening around them and embrace it. These are the people that grow to a higher level in life after going through a challenge. These are the thrivers. And you recognize them because they ask empowering questions. What can I do in this situation to move forward? Now, you may wonder, yes, this is all good, but how can I become more resilient? Well, we must understand that our entire life has been designed and lived to equip us to do the very next thing. And as such, challenges are nothing more than blessings in disguise. Well, I hope that you find these messages useful. I wish all of you the very best in this summit and in life. Take care.
Wow. Wow, that was absolutely beautiful. And thank you, Rosanna, for sharing that video. I'm sorry you couldn't be with us live because I'm sure there would have been lots of questions coming up for you to answer around that one. But it's actually really interesting. Rosanna speaks today, Peter spoke yesterday, and both of them are talking about changing the narrative. Rosanna says here, think about past events as a blessing in disguise. And I think I mentioned earlier about something Peter had said about changing the story that's attached to the brain to turn it from a negative into a positive, the story that's attached to that trauma. So that's really interesting that we've seen already in 2 days similar viewpoints on what we can do or what we should do about the stories in our minds around any traumas that we have. So we're going to move forward now. And I'm going to invite Sita Sagaran, who is a personal development trainer, lifestyle consultant, and motivational speaker, author, and mentor, to join me on the platform. Sita, can you unmute your microphone? Are you able to say hello to us?
Hi, are you able to hear me?
I am, Sita. You've got 5 minutes. You're invited to speak to us. I understand you're speaking around the topic of vulnerability.
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much, Mahmouda. Thank you very much, Jimha, Professor Jude, for the welcome. I really am privileged to be on the platform today. Thank you. I would like to I would now like to start with a namaste, which is a traditional Indian greeting, which basically means I see the divine in you, which I believe is a reflection of positivity that is so much sharing the philosophy of what this event stands for. And I'd like to welcome all of you to the session on vulnerability, the unrecognized strength of wellness. Before I begin my session, I would like to recognize the Aboriginal people of Australia as the traditional custodians of the land. I'd like to pay my respects to them, their culture, their elders, past, present, and future. Now, vulnerability is about showing up, someone said, being seen. It's tough to do that when we are terrified of what people might see or think. What do you associate with the term vulnerability? Weakness? Is it fear? Is it hurt? Is it betrayal? There are some very deep-rooted emotions which are attached to vulnerability. And vulnerability is not a sign of weakness that we may initially think. It can be our greatest strength. Our association of vulnerability requires a shift in awareness in order to strengthen our emotional well-being. But interestingly, vulnerability is a double-edged sword. When we protect ourselves to avoid getting hurt, what we do is we prevent ourselves from appreciating intimacy and close relationships. At the same time, with regard to personal growth to take place, we require to be able to accept our vulnerability in order to enable our growth in completeness. Even the smallest act of letting down our guard is a possibility for us to move forward and grow. When we look at the benefits, what are the benefits that we can think about when we look at vulnerability? For example, trust and intimacy. When we meet people, the moment we decide that we need to have a barrier so that we can enable ourselves to be protected, to ensure that none can hurt us, we are not allowing us to know the beautiful source they may have. I remember years ago when I heard this philosophy from a mentor of mine, that's my dad, when he told me years ago that despite getting into a lot of challenges which were involving people, his desire to keep himself open to experiences, to people, have always amazed me. And I asked him, why do you wish to keep yourself getting hurt? The possibilities are so high for you to get hurt. And he said, Sita, I don't want to lose the joy of living. And when I heard that, I thought, was he being naive? Was he being innocent? And was he being a simpleton? But today I humbly admit that I was wrong. It is so true that the more we open ourselves to getting to know people, the more we are able to understand, appreciate, respect others for their differences. And of course, get to know people, learn from people better. Another thing would be about increasing our self-worth. When we are open to the fact that we are vulnerable, we have flaws, we have room for improvement, I think the manner we are able to accept ourselves is a lot higher than if we were so much in an enclosure and ensuring that none can hurt us. So it also helps us find people that we want in life, vulnerability. It allows us to work together more. Today, I'm so privileged to be part of. I'm sorry, can you please mute yourself, please, if any of you have unmuted by mistake? Thank you. It also helps us to overcome negative emotions quicker, disappointments quicker. In fact, the road to vulnerability will not come without challenges. So it is not, number one, a weakness. It is not something that you can do without. It is a measure. It is not supposed to be a measure of comparison. And it's not exclusive to some people. And it is not to be considered as a dark, deep emotion. So if we look at in detail how vulnerability can help us further, it's number one, through improved physical health. For example, in crisis, how are we able to overcome crisis? And it is also through the acceptance of our vulnerability and gaining strength through that. Unfortunately, it's just a 5-minute session today, so I'm unable to get into more details, but I will try to keep it as capsulated as possible. It reduces risk. It increases, I believe, self-expectancy for many. And as I mentioned earlier, a higher level of self-esteem, decreased depression and anxiety too in some cases. It increases our personal accountability and awareness of our environment and people we associate with. It opens us for growth. And when we talk about vulnerability, I'd like to mention here about Anne Frank. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with Anne Frank, who was a German-Dutch diarist of Jewish origin who had been through the Holocaust. And she had revealed to us a very inspiring work through her diary. Through her, the strength that she had gained from the vulnerability that she faced during that time, she was able to inspire countless people about how to live better. And I think when we think about what Anne has gone through and what so many people go through every day in terms of hardship, we can definitely imagine that there is so much we are able, each of us are able to bring forth to the world and make the world a better place. And of course, I would like to conclude my session by saying that being vulnerable enables us to be more authentic. It replaces professional distance and cool with uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. Vulnerability is the root of human connection. Thank you so much. I'd now like to hand the stage back to Mahmouda.
Thank you, Sita. As usual, you know, every time I share a platform with Sita, I leave knowing something that I hadn't considered before. Before I go into what Sita was talking about, I just want to ask the admins if they can go through the participants list. We seem to have somebody who's trying to hijack our screen and interfering with audio. So I thank the back office for taking a look at that for me. So Sita here shared about vulnerability, and it touches me. This year, for some reason, I've really been seeing a lot of Brene Brown, and she speaks to vulnerability as well. And the two of you are, you know, driving home this message that vulnerability is not weakness. In fact, it's a strength, and a strength that's probably an untapped strength by many of us, because we grew up with the idea that leaving ourselves open to hurt is not a good thing. And I suppose it is human nature. Nobody wants to be hurt, so we shield ourselves. I love that your father actually came through as a role model, and I love what you said about him saying, I don't want to lose the joy of living. So Sita, I want to thank you for that message. And thank you for explaining Namaste. I understand it now as I see the divine in you. And that's exactly what happens when we open ourselves up, as Sita said, open yourselves up more so that you can appreciate the differences in others. So Sita, thank you so much for that impactful presentation. We're going to move forward now and invite to unmute their microphone right now. If I could just hear from Xavier Ifyong. Xavier is a clinical psychologist, a social media coordinator, and is also a Jimha ambassador. Xavier, are you able to unmute your microphone? Xavier, if you're with us, just say hello. It would be very nice to hear from you. And I also want to thank Sita again for explaining Namaste. You know, I came on here and I wanted to greet everybody because, as I was saying, we've got representatives from all around the world: India, Tanzania, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Uganda. And it's always good to just you know, find a connection on common ground. And for me, that's greeting you all in the languages of your choice. So I do hope you will be sharing how to say hello in your language in the chat box. Xavier, are you now with me? Okay, we will wait for Xavier to reach out to us once he joins the platform. I'm not going to delay any further, and I'm going to invite now Dr. Nipa Choksi, who is a purpose coach, who will be speaking to us about employment readiness, work ethics, and self-discovery. Dr. Nipa, are you able to unmute your microphone and join us on the panel this morning?
Yes, I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, you are. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mahmouda, for the wonderful session, and Jimha and Vivian and everyone who connected with me for giving me this wonderful opportunity to talk today. I'm very grateful for this chance, and it's wonderful to hear all the speakers. And Sita, it was beautiful to hear the explanation of Namaste from you. So jumping on to my topic of employment readiness, work ethics, and self-discovery. So understanding employment readiness, why do we need to understand employment readiness? Why is it important? What is employment readiness? Somewhere, some point in time, all of us want to step out of our comfort zone and we want to move about doing things for ourselves, but not necessarily that each of us can organize or be an entrepreneur at our end. And when that doesn't work, we choose to work with somebody who's already started up something, and we choose to be their employee, and we have an employer sitting there. So each time we choose to be an employee, there are certain roles that we need to fulfill. We need to understand at our end, are we personally ready? Are we professionally skilled enough to take on that job? Are we well versed with the technology and the upskilling and the upgrade that's required with changing times? So each time we understand that this is what I want to do, it's a great idea to tick mark the check boxes and see, you know, where do I fit in? How do I fit myself? What is it that I need to do to fit into that particular role and do it with full responsibility? Is it natural or is it a learned phenomena to be ready for a particular role? Well, it doesn't always come naturally. A lot of effort, a lot of conscious awareness needs to get into that space. A lot of times people feel, oh, you know, I have my degrees, I'm already in place and I'm just there. But that's not always enough to be ready, because beyond degrees, there are other skills which we need to learn. We need our soft skills in place, our life skills in place. to be able to collaborate with people in a successful manner, to be able to participate well in teamwork. For instance, understand we have two people, X and Y. There is an X who always waits for the last minute to complete all the possible tasks given to them, and just completes it without trying to coordinate or confirm the completion with anybody. On the other hand, we have somebody called Y who does things right away. All the chores assigned are done right away. The tasks are completed way before time. And a good, healthy discussion and feedback is initiated from everybody around. Now, of the two, who is it that I want to be? And how do I put myself in that person's shoes? How do I scale myself? That brings us down to ethics. Because each time we work, there are certain rules to follow to be working in an ethical zone. Ethics can be related to the legal responsibilities that the institution has upon us and we have upon the institute and the society at large. Or the professional ethics that shows how I work, my workplace, and how I tune myself to the changing times and the changing people to communicate and take myself up from there. And above all, the moral ethics, which shows the human spirit in me and how much I choose to give myself in to keep things in perspective. What is the best way to check if I am working ethically or I'm not working ethically? Well, sometimes people say, oh, maybe I'm a bit ethical, I'm not a bit ethical here, but as far as I understand, there's nothing like half ethical or half non-ethical. Either you're ethical in your work or you're not ethical. Either you are keeping up to the required responsibilities or you are not. So how do we distinguish between the two? Whether what I may think I'm doing it is right, but it may not necessarily be right. A lot of introspection, self-reflection, self-questioning helps in these cases. It's nice to put yourself to certain questions like, is it fair? Is it legal what I'm doing? Is it going to hurt anybody? Are my words and actions in place? Are they in check? Is it going to make someone uncomfortable? Does it convey respect for others? Am I in sync with what's required to be done? Have I involved others by asking them their viewpoint, or I've made a single-handed decision and decided to go ahead on my own? A lot of times in my practice, I come across people who are probably not doing that great at work or who are on the verge of being fired, or even people who've been fired. Now, most of the times, the companies end up firing people, not because they were not capable. That could be one reason, being incapable, but most of the times because they've not been able to keep up with the values of working. Either they're troublemakers at workplace, they're using language that is not meant to be used. They're not maintaining the law and order, not very well versed with team activities, with teamwork, not a good team player. For a company to grow, it's important to collaborate in teams, because if the company grows, you grow. And with your growth comes the growth of the company. So it's a cycle that continues, and it's not the best to break these kind of cycles. So each time we take a step further to upskill ourselves, also people keep discovering each other. Like in my case, each time I was working, over the years, I realized this is not what I want to do. And I made a shift from my medical profession to being a coach and a therapist. So again, the process of self-discovery is a constantly ongoing process. How do we get on to discovering ourselves? The best way is to keep on upskilling, keep on upgrading, keep on associating with people. Keep asking myself, what is my purpose? Am I happy doing what I want to do? What is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to contribute to people from here? What is it that I want from life today? What is it that I want from life 2 years down the line? What is it that I want from life 5 years down the line? And you'll be amazed to understand that the entire process of self-discovery is not just self-discovery, but it leads to self-development and eventually self-actualization. Understanding what you want, how you want it, like growth is not a one-sided thing. It's a process which we need to continue. I think I'm up with my 5 minutes and I wouldn't want to push any longer. Over to you, Mahmooda, and I hope I could make myself clear in those 5 minutes.
Oh, thanks for that, Dr. Nipa. We really appreciate. I think Mahmooda is having some connectivity issue. Mahmooda, are you there? We can't hear you.
Yes, I am back, Jude. Thank you so much for holding fort. And Dr. Nipa, sorry that we lost you there at the end, and my network also went But I really loved that presentation. A lot of the people that have connected to this summit are youth, and workplace readiness is really important. And it's, something that we don't really think about is around the issue of ethics and our own morality. Do we have our own personal ethics in order when we step into a new role at a workplace? Sometimes we go in with the best intentions, but we don't always look at what the work culture is around the place. We don't really get to feel the place. And then sometimes we don't feel well settled because we're not in line with what the corporate vibe is of the place. So it was really interesting what Nipa was saying there. And she says we need to understand ourselves. Are we ready to upskill? Are we ready to upgrade so that we can fit in? And when we're looking at personal ethics, how do I work? How do I adapt? What are my own moral ethics? So thank you so much for that, Nipa. We're going to move forward at this stage, and we're going to invite our next speaker, who is Dr. Pramod Kumar Rajput. He's the Senior Vice President and Vertical Head at Cadila Pharmaceuticals Limited. He's also the Marketing Director for Jimha. He'll be speaking to us today about personal response to workplace stress. Dr. Pramod Rajput, are you with us? Are you able to unmute your microphone?
Yeah, Dr. Mahmooda, thank you so much, very much. I think you are able to hear me very well, right? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much, and good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all the beautiful viewers who are at the platform of Jimha. I really thank our beautiful friend, Professor Jude, and all the people who have given me such a great responsibility to be a part of Jimha, which is doing a lot of the things, not only in Australia, but the entire world. And gradually you are spreading your wings to make the things happen, and you are helping everybody so well. So I really feel proud of myself and feel blessed to be a part of it. Now, the way that Dr. Nipa Choksi, she had spoken, and the way it has been described about the requirement of the workplace is very important. I don't feel that it's only a workplace. The emotional response which I'm going to speak, which is very, very important, because the stress is a part and parcel of the life. And how we take care, it's very, very important, because God has given us brain, and brain have two sides, left brain and the right brain. So when we really talk about the uses of the brain, that is how the left and right brains takes care. We all should have rational part and emotional part, which is point number one. Second is analytical and initiative, which is again, as an intelligent or as a mature person, we should be able to know about it. Then when we are in the working place, when we are talking to the people, when we are taking work with the people, when we are working with the peer group, we have to be focused as well as we have to be connected. So because this is both the things goes together well and well, and then only we'll be able to see how we can bust the stress, because any work should be with the pleasure. It should not be with the pressure. And the pleasure work will always be a successful work. And with the pressure, you will be succumbing the people not to go ahead about it. So what are the important things are there? We have two types of the people when we work. We don't get the people who have all high emotional quotient. We have the people have the low emotional quotient, and we have the people with the high emotional quotient. So this is very important as a professional to deal the people with the high emotional quotient, because they have the better decision making part, problem solving, they are aware about it. They always keep cool under the whatever the pressure and resolving the conflicts and effectivity. They have the greater empathy and listen, and they reflect and respond to the constructive criticism. But at the same time, when you go to the people who are the low EQ, because we will find the people have the low EQ, they are more than 70%. So they always be feeling that why we are becoming victimized, why they are not aggressive, why they are not able to communicate. So we have to ensure the balance between both the type of the people. So how we are going to ensure and how we are going to handle this workplace stress? As a team person or as a team member, we will have to be more loyal, more engaged with the work, which is better with each other, which will be happier and will be more creative. So when we involve the creativeness, the happiness is going to come. We are going to bust our stress because everybody will talk positive. They will be creative about it. And importance of emotional intelligence nowadays, because we are in the VUCA world, and all the people who have spoken yesterday and today also, they will really agree with me that EI is becoming a very, very important part, because either in the home, either in the outside, or in the workplace, we have to be accordingly. Empathy is very important thing. Self-awareness, which I always feel, adaptability, social awareness, strong authentic communication, because it also makes the difference. With the beautiful communication, you can build the things or you can break the things. It is there. So I will say in the last that my take home message, which I have learned with my 40 years of experience while dealing with the many people, learning from the people, is that I will say stress is inevitable. There are two stress are there. One is a positive stress and one is a negative stress. If you have the positive stress, it will give you to go ahead and ahead. If you have a negative stress, then it will pull you back. So we have to create this stress, which is a positive part, so that it can give us a further enlightenment to go further ahead. And these abilities can set us apart when it comes to dealing with the interpersonal conflict. So for me, the 5 take-home message I would like to talk, we must be aware of our own emotions and stress levels, because we have to balance that when we are dealing with the people. Second point is we must find trustworthy people to talk to. We cannot be blah, blah, blah everywhere. Find it out the people, right thing has to be spoken. Third point is must take time to respond than reacting, because normally we react. I always say take a step back and respond, because as per the situation, because what you see, it may be different as from the other side. So see from both the side and then start responding it, because wherever there is a tussle is there, wherever the stress is there, people, they react. But when you start responding, the things will be different. Fourth point is must be able to set boundaries and remain calm and volatile with the situations. I repeat, we have to set the boundaries, we have to be calm, and we have to be volatile with the situation. Last but not the least, we must show our authenticity and the vulnerability when it is appropriate. So these are the points are there which I personally feel, if you really tackle, make the things, your place will be absolutely stressful place. Because no stress will be there. It will be stress busters. People will love to come to you. People will love to work with you. People all will be progressing it, and the success is going to be a part and parcel of the life. These are the way it depends upon only on us and us. Nobody else can change the thing. We are the change maker. We have to become a change maker. We are the person who can make the difference. With this, Mahmooda madam, thank you so much for giving your valuable time, and thank you so much, Professor Jude, for giving me such a wonderful platform, which I always love, respect a lot, and will be respecting in the coming time as well, and spreading the happiness across under the platform of GYMHA JIMHA. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajput. Wow, within the time limit. So congratulations on that one. And yes, you know, you spoke here about emotional intelligence becoming a very important tool. I absolutely agree with that. But then I also loved how you then pivoted and you took us to 5 key points that we could actually work on here. And I want to reiterate these because I felt that these were like really important. So Dr. Rajput Kumar has said here, be aware of your own stress levels. Okay, so that's number 1. He says, learn to talk to the right people. Don't just tell your stresses and your problems to everybody, because not everybody's your friend and not everybody can help you with the solution. Be slow to react. And I think we have learned this lesson over the last 20 years on the world scene, where people react and we end up going into war. So he's very right. Be slow to react, but take time to respond. Learn how to set boundaries. And the last point was show vulnerability when it's appropriate. So I'm sure we're going to drop a lot of questions in the chat box, because our earlier speaker spoke about how it is powerful to be vulnerable. So let's ask Dr. Rajput in the chat box, maybe he can answer. So when is an appropriate time to show vulnerability? Because maybe we don't quite understand how vulnerability can be powerful, and then how we can't use it all the time and when we can use it. So thank you so much. I think you tied in very well there with what Sita had been saying earlier. So we're going to move forward. Please feel free to drop your social media handles and contacts in the chat box. Chat box needs to be kept busy. Let's ask our panelists as many questions as you want, and we will be addressing those going forward. My next guest on the panel is Professor Rishikesh Kumar. I hope I said your name right, but I want to invite you to correct me because I've also got a difficult name. So if you can unmute your microphone and join me on the platform. You are an author, you're a motivational speaker and a corporate trainer, and you're also faculty and coordinator of Entrepreneurship Development Cell, EDC. So welcome to our summit, and you're talking to us today about how to determine future workforce needs. Are you with me, Professor Kumar?
Yes, my voice is audible to you, Mehmuda.
Yes, you are audible. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you so much, Dr. Jude, for inviting me for this great summit. And as an individual, what I feel, I welcome all the beautiful soul across the world who are in that beautiful summit. Reason being in this, whatever topic I've given you all have given to me, it's very important topic to discuss. Reason being, if we talk about today's scenario, the entire culture or a future generation, we should focus how they are going to work in any organization. So now I'm going to start my presentation. May I now?
You may, but before you proceed, if I can just let you know that we seem to have a bit of a background, like a background noise, a loop coming through. I don't know if you've got two devices running, but you might want to mute one of them.
Yes, I have to discontinue one device, Mehmuda.
Okay, so you want to share? Yeah. You want to share your screen?
No, it's fine. I'm not going to share my PPT, Mehmuda.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm not going to share my PPT.
Okay, that's fine. You can continue then. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to discuss on workforce planning involve two major activities. Second is the tips for effective workforce planning. Third is the steps in the workforce planning process. Key challenges that HR teams face in the modern workplace. The message for leaders who are the decision makers for any organization. I'll discuss on organizational challenges, the future of workplace learning, and top 20 jobs roles in increasing demand across industries. And last one, top 15 skills that is required for coming future. Now, if we talk about 2020 pandemic situation, what we have learned as a HR, as a CEO, as a CFO of any organization, what we are doing. Now, people are shifting from rural to urban areas, a lot of challenges. What we have learned as an organization, we can work from any part of the world, if it is a remote or urban areas. So now, what is the role of any organization? They should provide them each and everything. If we talk about health, well-being, psychological safety, belongingness, culture, you have to focus on that. And if we talk about the two major activities, first is the developing and analyzing data that identify HR needs. What kind of future demands are there in the industry? If we talk about today's scenario, or maybe the coming future, there is artificial intelligence we can see, or we can talk about data analysis. A lot of other skill sets are required. So second is the what kind of we can say developing responses to the identified needs. Training is required, and tips for effective workforce planning. So if we talk about any specific job, so we require a skill set. We require our that is the problem solving attitude, and there is a 4 workforce planning process I'm going to discuss. First is the supply analysis. Second is the demand analysis. Third is the gap analysis, and fourth is the solution analysis. As a HR, as an entrepreneur, as an CEO of any organization, what kind of challenges you are going to face in the coming?
Okay, there was a lot of interference there, Professor Kumar. I think you were muted. Can I ask you to just unmute? Maybe let's try that again. You can take us from the types of analysis. You spoke about 4 types of analysis.
Yes, now clear. Now my voice is clear.
Not so much. It's still a little bit of echo, but let's try if you can take us from gap analysis.
Just wait. I'm leaving to go.
Are you still with us? Professor Jude, are you able to confirm if Professor Kumar is still with us?
In the interest of time, Amanda, can we try to round up this session? And I think he's having a lot of issue with the microphone, so probably move to the next speaker.
Okay, I apologize there to Professor Kumar. Indeed, we were having some interference with your microphone. At this point, we're going to speak to Gayatri Sankaran. She's a yoga therapist, and her topic today is the effectiveness of meditation in stress management. I invite you to unmute your microphone and join me. Are you with us, Gayatri?
Hi, Mahmouda. I am here. Can you hear me?
I can. Fabulous to see you. I give you the floor for 5 minutes.
So, Vanakkam, that's how we greet in Tamil, India, South India. That means I bow down to the divine in you.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing. Please go ahead.
So my topic today that Jude gave me very kind.
I seem to have lost you, Gayatri.
How they can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
So Jude has of meditation, and I thought I would for the participants so they can actually experience what meditation is, so they can understand how meditation benefits them and how they can handle stress at work. Of medicine that is followed in the southern part of India. So I'd be giving one Varmam technique and followed by meditation for the participants to experience what meditation is and how it can benefit them. So first,
Hello, Mamda. It looks like she's experiencing
to focus attention and transform the mind, and it can be practice.
Wait, Gayatri, we seem to have a lot of break on your end. I think there's a little bit of a problem with the network your side. Can you confirm? Can you hear me? Professor Jude, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Probably we'll go to the next speaker.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, so we're having interference from Gayatri's connection as well. I think we experienced that with Professor Kumar. So I'm going to move forward, and I'm so sorry to have to cut those two speakers at this point. But we would like to invite Dr. Madeline Gomez. She's here to speak to us today about how to increase productivity and effectiveness in the workplace. I do hope we'll be able to speak to those other two speakers when we come back in the closing session. Dr. Madeline, are you with me? If you can unmute your microphone.
I don't think she's here.
Okay, it's quite unfortunate. Let's try Mireille Tulekima. Mireille, are you able to unmute your microphone? We can try and speak
yes.
with you.
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome, Mireille.
Hello.
I hope I said your name correctly. So we're listening to you today, talking to us about recognizable signs that you are stressed in your workplace. So this is really interesting. Yes, please, you've got 5 minutes. Tell us what you think about this topic.
Oh yeah, it's a very interesting subject and on point right now with what's happening with COVID and all the aftermath of what we experience. So I just want to welcome everybody. My name is Mireille. I'm talking to you from Perth, Australia. And it's my first participation. I must say I'm very impressed by the input and the knowledge shared, and it's really very encouraging. So I mean, with we've seen so far that, you know, like I was mentioning before, that the world is actually experiencing a lot of trauma, and there's a lot of stress, you know, as a result of that. And the stress is actually touching everybody around the world. I mean, irrespective of who you are, where you are, and, you know, where you come from. So it's really a difficult period right now. And I also wanted to point out, especially as far as the workplace is concerned, that, you know, we've seen a lot of stress rising in the workplace, and it has been at its highest point since the beginning of the pandemic. So it's really, I think the stress has become now the pandemic in itself, and that's the key thing that we're facing in the workplace right now. So it's very important to educate people so that they are able to have tools and strategies to identify the stress and also manage it, and not only manage it, but at the same time integrate it and embrace it into their, you know, into their new life, into the workplace, because it's not going to go away. It's part of the new normal now, that to have this stress. It's now a matter of, you know, using the stress and making it positive and getting rid of the negative part of the stress. So how do we, you know, in this type of environment where everything is very volatile, uncertain, and really ambiguous, how do we see, you know, how do we identify the sign of stress? And how, you know, what are the key things that we can say, okay, this is stress building up, and how do we really, you know, take care of that? So the first thing is to understand that, you know, and I think one of the speakers talked about it before, there's, you know, the positive stress and the negative stress. And what we don't want is this negative stress, because that's the one that is harming us, and it can harm us emotionally, but also physically. And some of the red flags that we have, as far as emotion are concerned in the workplace, you know, those strong emotion like feeling fearful, anxious, and really become irritable at some point, even, you know, when things are really not, you know, not serious, or when, you know, you interact with your colleagues. So really looking at those strong emotions that are coming out of, at that point. And one thing as well that I've seen so far is, you know, see people being very sensitive, aggressive, and sometimes burst into anger without any, you know, without any reason, or being very defensive in everything that they do. And especially right now with the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. So people are fearful of, the one that stay in the workplace are fearful of losing their jobs, and they're doing more than, you know, they can do, and they don't really, you know, raise their hand and say, no, I can't, because they don't want to lose the job, or they don't want to be made redundant. So that's, you know, that's something to really look at this point in time. There's also the feeling of being overwhelmed. Obviously, you know, if you take more than what, you know, you need, then you end up being overwhelmed, not coping with the workload. And, you know, you're tired, obviously tired, and you overwork yourself, which is, you know, not the kind of thing that you want to do, especially on a continuous basis. You really want to avoid to be overworked. And also, you know, it can translate into, you know, losing sleep, because you're so anxious, you're so tired, you're so overwhelmed, you basically can't sleep anymore. So, and then you lose all the motivation, and then the commitment is not there anymore, and your confidence takes, take a toll. So you have to see, how, you can handle and become more confident and build it up. But most of the time, the spiral, it's to go down and really not being able to recover. And another sign can be also the other extreme, which is trying to be so perfectionist to show people that you can manage the workload, you can, be there and you can be the best. So you should be the person that, people should trust, and then you don't realize that again, you go into this spiral of overworking and basically overwhelming yourself, and you can be at a risk of being, burnout. So that's another sign is also, feeling really apathic, losing interest in everything, not wanting to be there in the workplace, and finding excuses, to stay at home and not face, the workplace, because you are in a way ashamed and you're not ready to perform at all. So that's also a key sign that I've seen so far, and really wanting to be alone and not, work with team, withdrawn yourself, and in a way, looking for self-pity and feeling like everybody's against you, and they don't really understand what you go through. So that's, a feeling that can be very strong in those moments where there's a lot of stress. And then there's also the whining, whining all the time and believing that, you are the victim and finding faults in everything that you see, or everybody, being against you. So really feeling this, this me against all the world type of attitude. So that's so those are some of the signs, I think, emotionally that are strong enough to say, okay, this person is really getting stressed, but getting the negative stress. Then there's also the physical response to that. So there's, I've talked about not wanting to go to work anymore, not wanting to be in the team, which is, making, and it can actually translate into being sick, and then having, those cold, repetitive colds coming in. So not, having the right energy that can help you to really be create a positive impact in your workplace. And there's also the
Mirai, if I can just interrupt you. Sorry, Mirai, if I can interrupt you at this point and just ask you to maybe wind it up. But I am inviting you also to conclude within the chat box. So if I can just maybe give you another minute just to conclude.
Okay, just to conclude, what I'm going to say is that, you have to look at emotional and physical red flag that can, that can actually impact you, and you can recognize them. And the next step is to really talk to people, talk to, your supervisors, and understand that, and I want to reach out to employees and employers at this time, is that they have to work together to be able to, to address that, because, if stress is actually impacting all of them, it's impacting the employee, but it's also the productivity loss that the employer is actually losing. So you really need to work together and identify those signs and have the structures and the tools to have to help your employees. And one of the quotes that I want to leave the audience with is, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. So again, it's a mindset as well. It's how you interpret what's happening around, and how, you build this stress and make it positive or make it negative. That's also up to you at this point.
Wow, Marie,
I'm
thank you
done.
so much. Thank you so much for that. I'm sorry to have had to cut you short, but in respect of the audience time as well, we need to move the program along. But I do want to invite you to just drop a few of those nuggets in the chat box. I was really interested in what you were saying around the signs of stress. I didn't recognize that that whining and complaining and that victim mentality is actually a sign that somebody is stressed. So thank you for talking about that.
You're welcome.
We're going to move forward, but I do want to invite the whole audience to please participate in the survey that is ongoing. You can find the link in the chat box as well. And right now I'm going to invite Hussaina to conduct our quiz competition, and she will be doing a short question. She'll be presenting some questions to you. Please feel free to answer them. There are prizes, and we will be going into an award ceremony a little bit later. Hussaina, are you with me?
Yes, I am, Mahmouda. Hello, everyone. I'm going to list the prizes up for grab for the best or for the winner in these quizzes, and it's going to be 2 of them. So 3 great prizes up for grabs by the first person to type the correct answer in the chat box. So I'm going to be checking. Make sure, as you know the right answer, be the first person to respond. The first one is JIMHA Ambassador for 1 year. The second one is free mentoring at JIMHA on any course of your choice. And the third one is free access to psychological first aid course, which is around $45. So my first question is, during Dr. Pramoda's presentation, what are the 2 types of people we have? The 2 types of people we have, according to Dr. Pramoda. Sorry if I call your name wrongly. So I'll expect your responses in the chat box.
So we're waiting for an answer from the chat box. The question was, what are the 2 types of people that we have? So this question came from Dr. Pramod's presentation. If somebody can just answer in the chat box, let's get a winner. There's a $45, the prize is worth $45, and it's coming to whoever answers first.
Yes. So I have a winner already. The name is Anne Navarro, high EQ and low EQ.
Well done. Okay, so sorry, repeat the name of the winner, Hussaina?
Navarro. So Anne needs to contact Professor Jude for his or her prize. I'm sorry if.
Okay, Hussaina, thank you so much. And thank you so much for participating in the quiz competition. Is there another question, or was that it, Hussaina?
Yes, the second question is from Maury presentation. I'm sorry if I'm calling your name wrongly. List 3 negative signs of stress. 3 negative signs of stress. She mentioned a lot, but I need 3 negative signs of stress.
So the question is coming from Mireille's presentation. Name 3 negative signs of stress. First person to answer becomes the winner.
Yeah, I think I have my winner. The first person to answer correctly is Ambassador Noor Ahmed. Anger, tiredness, and lack of sleep. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Ambassador Noor, for winning the second prize. Hussaina, thank you so much for conducting this quiz competition. And I think that everybody who participated found the presentations interesting. Thank you very much. Any more questions, Hussaina?
We are done for the day.
Okay, thank you so much for conducting the quiz competition, and thank you everybody for participating. We're now going into our final presentation before we break into the masterclass room. I want to invite everybody who signed up for the masterclass to please use the link that you were provided with to join the masterclass. If you're not joining the masterclass, you'll stay with me in this main room while we wait for the masterclass to join us back after the session. I now invite Chipo Juru to give us a poem performance. She is a pediatric speech pathologist, and she is based at the Victorian Multicultural Commission's Regional Advisory Council. She's a member of that. Chipo, are you still with us? Please unmute your microphone. We're looking forward to hear your poetry today.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me okay, Mahmuda?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Welcome.
Fantastic. My roots and I. When I stand in front of you, I stand here with pride. The blood flowing in me has run in my mother's veins and my grandmother's before her. That strong Black woman who wouldn't be a nurse because she was shamed for having a baby. My grandmother who gifted her daughter with a gold nugget in a dream. The same gold nugget my mother appeared with in my dream while she flew over a ravine, holding my hand, exposing the secret hiding place. My mother, whose father did not send her to school because she was a girl. My great-grandmother, who refused to put the dead baby down, who insisted on blowing softly on her dead newborn's face, who refused to hand over the infant until my infant grandmother coughed and breathed again while the village watched. My grandmother, who when she danced, it rained, the rain which brought life to a barren land, the cracked, dry earth with a strong stench of death. After she danced and the trance passed, the swollen river would water and feed the whole village. After she danced, the whole village exploded with new life and the parched earth was quenched. My great-grandmother who revealed the medication to my father in a dream, the medication that untied the knot in his belly. My grandmother who I never met but knew that a girl would represent her today. When you see me, that blood runs deep in my veins. When my heart beats, all the hearts beat as one. When I dream, I see them, I hear them, I feel them. My roots, my hearts, my identity. The dreams, vivid, loud, passionate, and courageous. The voices, the whispers, the love, the strength. The feelings of pride, of inspiration, of fear, and of pain. Sitting on the train, in the boardroom, performing surgery in the theater, teaching in the classroom, dancing on stage, the heart beating, my identity, my roots, and I. Thank you.
Oh, brava. That was brilliant. Thank you so much, Chipo. Oh, and really deep too. I want to expand on that. The thing is, I'm out of time, and I know everybody has been really patient. So we want to go forward. I think right now we're going to be breaking and going into the master classes. I want to thank everybody for being extremely patient with us as we ran through the program. But before we break for the master classes, I'm asking you all to please to turn on your cameras. We want to take a group snapshot. And we want to put on our happy faces. We want to be grateful and show thanks, for all being here together and having sat through, I think it's already been 2 hours of a powerful summit. And if you can just turn on your cameras, if everybody can confirm that they've got their cameras on somehow, maybe with a thumbs up emoji. And I'm inviting, I think, Husseina, are you doing the photograph for us, the group photo? No, Jude, can you confirm who's taking our picture for us today?
I promise, Ahmed. Yeah, Hosanna can also help us. We have Edith as well.
Great. Edith, everybody in the back office, whoever's taking the group photo, we're inviting all participants to turn on their cameras. It's lovely to see all those beautiful smiles. shows of thankfulness, of joy for being alive, just like what I think it was Sita's father said. We're just so happy and grateful to be alive. And it's good to see you all. I know yesterday we had a huge thumbs up to show our positivity, but let's have some broad smiles and let's show joy and happiness as we wait for the screenshot, as we wait for the photo to be taken. So if we can just get a go ahead from our photographer, when do you want us to smile? Tell us to say cheese. Oh, it's lovely to see you all. You know, when you share your screen, you don't get to see all the lovely faces. So this is fabulous. So many familiar faces. Thank you all for always being part of Jimha's summits, and it's lovely to see such positivity coming through. Can we get a go ahead? Has the photo been taken? Some confirmation?
Yes, Mahmuda.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you so much. Okay, whoever's not comfortable keeping the camera on, you may turn it off. We're now going to move forward and we're going to go into our masterclass. So a link was sent out earlier to those who wanted to participate in the masterclass. If I could ask you to please use that Zoom link now to join the masterclass. And once the masterclass is finished, you'll be joining me back here in the main room for the conclusion of the summit. It's been a wonderful 2 days with you. I thank you for being so patient with us. And please, I do hope to see you back here for the closing session. You will be breaking into the masterclass roundabout now. Thank you so much. Professor Judy, any last words before people go?
So just to remind everyone that Ngosa will be leading us with some entertainment while we're waiting for the people or participants from the masterclass to rejoin the group. And if you are registered, you don't have the link, please let me know as soon as possible. We have Karen, Justin, and Vito Patton for the master class. So please feel free to join that master class in the next few minutes and rejoin again. We will be having our presentations and a lot of entertainment as well. So please do not go away and just stick with us or join the master class. So for those who will stay, I hope you will enjoy the entertainment. And for those in the master class, I know there are a lot of materials. It's power pack, so definitely it's going to be inspiring, educative, and informative. So please do join in the next few minutes. Thank you so much, everyone, for your cooperation and support. So Mahmuda, probably now call on Ngosa to please come on board.
Yes, Ngosa, thank you. It's amazing to see you again once again with us here on Jimha's Summit. So if you can unmute your microphone, are you able to say hello to us all while everybody moves through to the masterclass? All registrants to the masterclass are now moving to the masterclass and they'll rejoin us here as soon as that is over.
Hello, Mahmuda.
Hi, Ngosa. Oh, lovely to see you.
Thank you. Great to see you too.
It's nice to see you're still playing. I did tell, I think it was Lance earlier, that I too have my guitar. I know how to play one chord, so I'm not competing with you today, but next year we might have to do a joint thing.
Okay, exactly. Why not?
No, fabulous. Please, the floor is all yours. I hear we're in for some entertainment. Perhaps in between we could have a bit of a discussion for anyone who's not joining the masterclass. But for now, the floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you so much. So my name is Ngosa, just a quick introduction. And I'm known as Ngosa Music, at least by my platforms on YouTube and Facebook. I am a student or no, a graduate actually. I'm pretty excited. I just had my degree in electrical engineering, and so I'm very passionate as well about music. And I'm excited to have this opportunity to share with you all music. So just confirm if you can hear me clearly and everything's okay.
We can.
Amazing. So I'm gonna start with a song that's called "Stand By Me." Okay. As human beings, you know, we connect at so basic and foundational a level that when we feel alone, when we feel nobody cares and nobody loves, we can literally disintegrate into thousands of pieces. And so what this song is saying is, when the nights are cold and when the sky falls and when the mountains crumble to the ground, I won't shed a tear and I'm not gonna be afraid as long as you promise to stand by me. When I'm feeling stressed, as long as you can stand by me, it's gonna be okay, okay? So enjoy this. One, two, three, four. When the nights are cold and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we see, no, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. When the sky that we look upon should crumble and fall, and the mountains should tumble to the ground, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever I'm in trouble, would you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Ta da 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 da. Ta da 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 da. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Ta da 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 da. Da da da. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me.
Oh, yay, Ngosa, well done. That was absolutely fabulous. Absolutely brilliant. I remember this song. It takes me back to my childhood. My mom was a fan of a singer. I think his name was Ben.E. King at the time. And I think that was the first time I heard this song, but you did such a beautiful rendition. I was singing along because you took me right back to my childhood. So thank you so much for that. I think everybody else must have enjoyed the lyrics to that song as well. Thank you so much. Do you have another one to share with me?
Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna share another song here. And since we're talking about stress and worrying, here's a little song that's going to tell you not to worry and to be happy. It's also an old classic, and I'm hoping some of you will remember it. Okay. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry, be happy. In every life we'll have some trouble. When you worry, you make it double. Don't worry, be happy. Don't you worry, be happy now. Ta-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ta-da-da-da-da-da. Don't you worry, be happy now. Ta-da-da-da-da. Ta-da-da-da-da-da. Ta-da-da-da-da-da. Ta-da-da-da-da. Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Don't worry, be happy. The landlord say your rent is late. You might have to litigate. Don't worry, be happy. Don't you worry, be happy now. Ta da 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 da, ta da 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 da. Ta da 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 da. Ah, ta da 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 da. Don't you worry, be happy now. Ta da 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 da. Don't worry, be happy. Listen. Ain't got no cash, ain't got no style, ain't got nobody to make you smile. Don't worry, be happy. Cause when you worry, your face will frown, and that's gonna bring everybody down. So don't worry, be happy. Don't you worry, be happy now. Ta da 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 da, ta da 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 da. Ta da 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 da. Ta da 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 da. Don't you worry, be happy now. Ta da 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 da. Ta da 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 da. Be happy. Can I hear some people we saw it? Ta da 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 da. Worry. Don't worry, be happy. Thank you
Now
so much.
I tell you, Ngosa, it's hard not to be happy when you sing that well for us. You know, I was looking at everybody. People are swaying, people are singing, people are clapping because you've really got us in this really positive mood right now. And it's absolutely wonderful. That was Bobby McFerrin's song. And I just remember it took the world by storm when it came out. It's just that right type of positivity, the right type of energy that we need. So I'm going to give you a short break. I wanted to invite back to the panel, Professor Kumar. I think we got cut off earlier. I don't think you managed to finish what you were trying to say to us. Is that correct?
There was some technical issue, Mahmooda. I'm extremely sorry from bottom of my heart. Really, I'm enjoying. Already I've enjoyed all beautiful soul, beautiful audience. Really, got a great thought on this topic. So thank you so much. Really, I'm enjoying I'm enjoying. And thank you so much, Devi. She's very dynamic lady. She's on this organization, really, Also, thank you all for this. Yeah,
It's absolutely brilliant. I don't know. I seem to be having a little bit of interference coming from your microphone, Professor. But I
two devices. I'm trying from two devices. It was some technical issue. So again, I logged from one device and I was trying to join. But again, it was very difficult to join from laptop. So what I've done, I've joined from my mobile phone. So again, there is some technical issues.
Okay, well, I'm glad you managed to come back. Is there anything you want to say to us that are left in this main room? Because the others have gone off to the master classes. We're here. We want to have a little bit of a discussion around stress. What are the things?
One thing I want to add on this topic, what I believe as a faculty, as a facilitator, if we talk about future job opportunities, if we talk about the future skill set, right? So we should just focus more on that. What is the future demand of any particular job? See, if we talk about today's scenario, Mehbudana, communication is the basic fundamental of any job, what I believe, as per my knowledge. Skill set in terms of problem solving, in terms of personality, in terms of skill set, in terms of technical skill set, in terms of your mental growth. Nowadays, if we talk about today's scenario, we all are fighting for the job, no doubt. But what we should do, we should try to create some job for the future. We all are running after job. So again, if we talk about today's scenario, we all are fighting with the mental stress, right? So what we should try to develop some kind of strategy for any future, employee, employment. If we talk about, I'm a faculty of MBA. I teach MBA marketing. Mahmouda, what I have seen it, we are just running after degree. The degree is not going to give you any job, I'll tell you. Degree is not going to give you any job. Your skill set, your personality, your acceptance. If I want to grow in coming future, I should accept any kind of challenges, what I'm going to face in the coming future, Mahmouda. And if you are ready to accept that kind of challenges, it's very much sure you are going to win the world. But how? That is the biggest challenge. As a HR, what kind of training I should develop? What kind of module I should develop? Module doesn't mean that is old concept. No, you should be visionary leader, right? I was discussing about four kind of different again it was a gap analysis, it was a demand analysis. We need to identify the gap for coming future. If we talk about MBA graduates in India, I'll tell you, Mahmouda, more than 15 lakhs MBA graduates are getting degree each and every year. 15 lakhs. If we talk about engineering graduates, approximately 4.75 lakhs, right? MBA, it's about 4.75 lakhs. Engineering, 15 lakhs. But they're not, they're not getting a job. They are just focusing on degree, Mahmouda. If you take example of top companies, take example of Microsoft or Google or Accenture or a Centel or Atos, they all are just, looking for a good candidate. The candidates, if they're having good skill set, good mindset, they are going to have them. So no doubt, we should not fight for the degree. We should try to develop that kind of skill set that is in the huge demand in the coming future. And no doubt, it's about artificial intelligence, it's about data science, it's about maybe some problem solving attitude. We should focus more on that, Mahmouda. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. But I want to open this up to the audience, to everybody who's in this discussion room. I don't know if you have the capability to unmute your mic, but I'd like to hear what people have to say, because I understand what you're saying about not focusing so much on getting these degrees because there are no jobs or whatever, but we need to develop a new skill set and a new mindset. And then we become the job creators ourselves, because I think you're right. And I know I live in Zimbabwe, and our unemployment rate is it's over 90%. I think they try and minimize it, and they try and make it sound better, but it's over 90% unemployment. The majority of Zimbabweans are entrepreneurs. They've had to find new ways of living, of earning money. A lot of people became cross-border traders, but we've got a lot of the youth now entering farming and turning farming into a business, which I think is great. There was a lot of government support around that. People who went overseas to get degrees have come back to become farmers. There are no jobs. We create our own jobs. So I want to open this up to the floor. I'd like to hear from, I don't know, Isaac, are you following the conversation so far? I can see you here on screen. What is it that you think about what Professor Kumar has just said about changing the mindset around this idea of having degrees? Edith, I know you're also with us, but you know, I'm inviting anyone to answer this question. Maybe you can put your hand up and I'll unmute you.
There should be some healthy discussion, what I believe. If you're discussing something on any particular topic, and we should discuss, right? At least we'll learn something. And again, we should respect others, viewpoint, right? If you have something, you all should, share with me, right? Yeah. It's forum to open to you all. If you want to ask something or if you want to share something, you all know.
Oh, great. We've got Emanuela. Emanuela is going to participate here. Emanuela, you can unmute your microphone.
Oh, hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Emanuela Maina. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. And I am currently waiting to graduate. And I did the last 2 years of my course online. So we were studying online, and of course it was a big change for most people. We had and being in Africa, most people do not have good access to internet. So I had classmates who dropped out of school, but the University of Nairobi tried to come up. Oh, sorry, I'm a law student at the University of Nairobi. So what happened? The university tried to come up with a way to, assist such students to, come back to school after one semester and continue with their learning. So what happened? They partnered with one of the telecommunication companies called Telcom, which provides internet services through data bundles. So what would happen, students and staff would get free bundles. So that way they were able to continue learning online. And for us, for example, because law is mostly research-based at LLB level, so what happened, we had to our exams changed from, the exams, that test comprehension, because normally exams would test comprehension, they'd be closed book, you wouldn't refer. But now what happened, we had open book exams for either 24 hours or 7 days. So of course they were way harder because we were allowed to, do research. And most of the questions I realized we were being asked were questions on solving problems. So I approached one of my lecturers later on and asked what changed. And they told me that right now, if you want to go somewhere in the world, the world is very competitive, things are changing, there's a huge paradigm shift. You need to move from the old school thinking and have a knack for solving problems. For example, I am volunteering for JIMHA as the assistant social media coordinator. And one of the reasons is because I am really passionate about mental health, and I want to see how I can use my my passion for this cause in law, because I realized, for example, there are so many things that happen when it comes to, how people who are mentally ill are discriminated against by the legal systems of their countries, and they really don't get, they don't, their rights are infringed upon. So me as a lawyer, I've realized that there's a gap in that area. So now what I want to do is to align myself with, people who believe in
fighting for the rights of people who suffer from mental illnesses. And I, as a lawyer, can maybe come up with solutions through maybe writing policy documents, research papers, and petitioning to parliament or things like that to solve this problem. So I think right now what we need to do as young people, it's not about, going to a company and, applying for a job. It's going to a company and telling them, this and this is the problem that I have seen in society, and this is, my solution to the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Emanuela, for that comment that you've made, and well done. Congratulations for volunteering with Jimha. We really appreciate all the back office work we can get. Jimha is doing some great work out there and bringing us together from around the whole globe for a common cause. So what do you think, Professor Kumar? She spoke there about the university allowing them to do open book exams, the university now stressing for problem solving skills. And what do you think about that new approach by the university? Is it a good approach? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you so much, Namruta. One thing, as a faculty, what I have seen, I'm going to share with you all. If you talk about any examination, what is the main purpose? Main purpose for any examination to identify the actual knowledge about that particular topic, right? Let's example, Namruta, our audience, if one topic is called as a marketing concept, let's example. So what we are going to learn, we are going to learn selling, production concept, product concept, marketing concept, right? So as a faculty, as a university, what they are going to do, they are just analyzing the basic concept of any particular topic. If you talk about, again, there is one concept called blended learning, combination of both online and offline. I'll tell you. If you talk about today's scenario, what we are going to do, let's example, we all are doing some kind of certification program. We don't have any choice. We can't move from one place to other place. As a faculty, we are just trying to teach them. But see, knowledge or teaching is not about online learning, what I believe. We should try to connect with face-to-face, right? That is for what I believe. It is a personal opinion, Mahmooda. Second, no doubt, online is very much important. In this pandemic era, some rules and regulations are there. We should keep some distance, but learning should be about face-to-face, what I believe, Mahmooda. That is not very important, right? And if you're appearing for any exam, so if you have scored good marks through online mode, what I believe, Mahmooda, it doesn't mean you are excellent. You are intelligent, right? Some point of time, if you are lucky enough, right, you can get good marks. But if your concept is clear, if you know the basic concept of that particular subject, you can do anything. MCQ is the different thing. Out of 4, answer, I'm going to take one answer, right, Mahmooda? So it doesn't mean I'm good. Again, we should know how to write the exam. You should know what is the content. You should know how you are going to deliver it. All these parameters is important, what I believe. And what we are getting, Mahmooda, we are just getting degree to any exam. And if you talk about today's scenario, I'll tell you, Mahmooda, we all are just doing some certification program. That certification program is not going to give you actual knowledge. Try to learn something. Try to go in depth, right? Try to inculcate good habits for your coming future. Try to develop your personality. Try to develop your attitude. Try to develop your gratitude. Try to develop your skill set. That all is required for coming future. What I've said.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. It's not only about the book knowledge, even though that is important. So it's all about the rest. What makes you a person? What's your heart like? What's your purpose? What is it that you're doing to better the community around you? How are you making life easier for the people around you as well? So that's really interesting.
There is one principle that I'm going to say. There is an attitude, a skill, and knowledge. Ask principle. Attitude, skill, and knowledge. That is important, I tell you. right?
Okay.
A stands for attitude, S stands for skill, and K stands for knowledge, right? Ask principle is
Okay.
important, yeah. And
Well,
again,
listen, nice. That's 3 principles: attitude,
yes.
skill, and knowledge.
We can do anything. We can do anything, I'll tell you, Mahmood. We all can
Except
do
you
it,
have
right?
to add optimism to it. If without optimism, without a belief that things will work out in the end, the world is caught up in a fog of pessimism.
Very
right?
true, very true.
We need beacons of optimism. And Anthony, Mahmouda, Rishikesh, you are beacons of optimism in this space. And that's what kids need. Last week, I had an audience with the Dalai Lama, and this very sour woman said, oh, look, the teenagers are suffering through COVID, and what can we do, Dalai Lama? And he smiled at her and he said, you as a mother or a grandmother, the most important thing you can do for teenagers is maintain their hope and optimism through the pandemic and beyond. And that's the critical fuel, Mahmouda.
Wow.
Yes, I agree with you, really. I'm agree with you.
Thanks, Rishikesh.
Okay, Victor, thank you for joining us. I'm so glad that you unmuted yourself and joined this conversation. So, okay, so now we've got from Professor Kumar, we got attitude, skill, and knowledge. And then Victor's now added in 2 more things, hope and optimism. And I love that because, and you spoke about how to help the teenagers. And this is something I've been dealing with on a personal level. So sorry to bring this in, but I've got a 15-year-old son. And he's been really having a hard time with this online schooling. And it's like what Professor Kumar had said, you need the face-to-face. And unfortunately, or fortunately, my son is one of those people that needs a teacher in front of him. He needs to see a working example. He needs to be shown exactly how to do it. And he became very, very dejected. He was supposed to write his Cambridge O-levels this year, and he was supposed to present 7 subjects. And he said, Mom, I'm not ready. Can you please allow me to write this in June? And I had to sit down as a mother and say, look, his age mates are moving forward, but he's telling me he's not ready. So what do? I need to make sure that he stays optimistic, even though the world or his friends are moving on. So I've had to now engage tutors to come in and sit with him until they go back to a face-to-face scenario in class. And I've then also allowed him to join a gym where he gets one-on-one training just to keep that hope alive. And, not to make him feel like, there's something wrong with him. He just didn't cope with online as well as the other students did. And I know a lot of his other friends are writing the O-levels, but they're not prepared for it. So, Victor, thank you so much about bringing that up, about keeping hope alive and being optimistic. It's nice to see you back from the masterclass. So, any other nuggets you want to share?
If I can suggest one thing. So yes, we've been under lockdown in Melbourne for over 200 days. I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, and so I understand exactly what you say. But during the break in lockdowns, I went to a little village in a remote part of Australia, and I knocked on the doors of the houses. And I asked them this question: what makes you optimistic? And we had a competition amongst the school children to ask adults and to make little 1-minute films of themselves, what makes you optimistic? My suggestion to you is that you get your son and a group of friends. If he's got a break now and he's going to do his O-levels next year, let them find a little community and let that little community find what makes them optimistic. And at 16, your son will be the leader. He will be the Pied Piper of a community creating optimism. And I'm happy to help. I've done it with lots of school groups, but just have a little competition so that he can do it, his friends can do it, and let them pick out a community that needs uplifting.
Oh, wow. What a brilliant suggestion. And thank you so much. You know what? Be careful by inviting me to do stuff because I always take people up on it. Thank you, Victor.
I'm at your service, Mahmouda.
Thank you so much.
Professor Kumar? Yeah, one thing I'm going to share with you all. Victor, sir, thank you so much for your brilliant concept, right? I'll and I'll update my knowledge and skill set, we can say, right, Mahmooda? So what I believe, if we talk about the ecosystem, right, Mahmooda? So as a person, when we are in a growing phase, right? So we should know who is the right person who can give us an input for my beautiful life. That is important. Your surroundings, your culture, right? Your upbringings, your positivity, your mindset, your facial expression, your positive thought, all these are very much important if we want to grow in a very positive direction for my life. It's offline or online, doesn't matter anything, I'll tell you. We should know where as a person I'm getting positive vibes from any particular person. And we should develop that attitude, I'll tell you. We should develop that attitude. And attitude, or we can say gratitude is the best attitude. We should know how to respect any human being, I'll tell you. And one thing, Mahmooda and Victor sir, we should work on that, what I believe as a human being. Human values, we should develop that kind of culture. Human values is important. What we are doing, we are getting some money for any kind of, if I'm working somewhere, I'm getting salary. If Victor sir is working, if he's an entrepreneur, he's getting some revenue. So revenue generation or salary is not ultimate aim of any person, I'll tell you. Victor sir or Mahmooda, right? Ultimate aim is to be a mental peace. That is important. If I'm not cool, I'm not happy, if I'm not positive, so whatever money you are earning, that is of no use at all, I tell you, right? So we should know how to use our life, how to develop that positivity. Thank you so much.
No, you're absolutely right. I like that about working on our human values. Now, earlier on, we heard about self-esteem and purpose and knowing who you are. So without knowing who you are, it's going to be really difficult to figure out what your values are, because it's just really easy to fall in line with, I don't know, societal expectations, religious expectations, community expectations. When you don't know who you are, you just become like a sheep and you follow on from the. So how do we help people? How, as the youth that are on this platform with us right now, what advice can we give them about finding themselves, discovering who they are, and what the purpose would be? I don't know which one of you wants to answer this question. I can see Anthony Neal is with us. Welcome. Deepshika, is there something you want to tackle for us? Or Edith, you want to take this one?
Okay, Mahmooda, thank you. Thank you very much. I believe sometimes it's fear that makes us not go out there. So I believe just networking with people is very important, and being able to sell yourself, because when you're doing something and you're not able to sell yourself, nobody will know about you. So it's very important to network with people and overcome fear, because fear is one thing that keeps us from achieving our dreams. Yeah, and also just being in touch with yourself, knowing who you are. Like you've said, self-awareness is very important. And when you're able to know yourself, it boosts your self-esteem. Yeah, so I think just being aware of yourself and overcoming fear and going out there. Like for me, for example, I would not probably be here if I hadn't connected with Professor Jude on LinkedIn. So also looking for those opportunities where you can connect with people, and looking for people who can mentor you, because sometimes without mentorship, you cannot go really fast. So it's very important to know where to find these people and how you can connect with them and how you can sell yourself. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for that, Edith. I think Professor Jude wanted to say something as well along those lines. Jude, do you want to chime in here?
Oh, yes, thank you so much. I'm just conscious of the time. The people from the masterclass are back, so can we try to round up this session, please? Now we can go with the program.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I had actually not taken cognizance of that. So yes, definitely. Let's conclude. And I want to thank everybody who participated in this, these few minutes that we've been together. And it was a wonderful discussion to have with you all. Okay, so we're going to move forward now. We're going into the closing segment. We've just concluded the interactive masterclass. The participants heard from Karen Chaston, from Victor as well, who also chimed in here and gave us some wonderful nuggets to take away. Victor Purton. We also had the masterclass presenter Kunle Palemo. So thank you so much for taking those masterclasses. In the main room, we just had a small discussion and we had some beautiful music coming through by Ngosa. I also want to invite you all once again to take a look at the opportunities that we have presented to you. They are available in the chat box. Just scroll through the chat box and you'll be able to see the opportunities that have come up because of this summit that was convened by Global Youth Mental Health Awareness. There are notices too in the chat box about the 40 Facebook live shows that we have at JIMHA, the scholarships and ambassadorship programs that are available. So take a look at those, get involved, and also see how you can access Katinda's ebook. Katinda was our moderator yesterday, and I want to thank her for a stellar job as she navigated the waters and steered the ship through day one. I am Mahmouda Khan, today's moderator, in case you didn't catch my name. For now, I want to invite Carolina Modesto. She's going to be doing the recognition and awards ceremony. Carolina, are you with us? Are you able to unmute your microphone?
I am. Hi, everybody. Good night. Sorry, I have my camera off because I'm having some connections issues here. So can you hear me?
We can hear you. Welcome, Carolina.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Actually, I would like to thank all the panelists and the amazing moderators and keynote speakers tonight, but also Jude asked me to help him with the Ambassadorship Award at JIMHA Global Stress Management Revolution Summit this year. So Jude, I would love to ask for your help. So I will tell the names of our ambassadors, and we can acknowledge their amazing work as well as volunteer service with JIMHA, if that's okay. I just forgot to introduce myself. I'm part of the board member. I'm the deputy chairperson at JIMHA, and it's an honor to be here with you guys tonight. Sorry, Jude.
It's fabulous having you, Carolina. Yes, please do go ahead.
Thank you. So I have a list here of the nominated ambassadorship award at JIMHA, and I would like to acknowledge Sandeep Nath, as well as Gilbert Igor Alapini. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing any names, but this is the certificate for our ambassador, Sandeep. Thank you so much, Sandeep, for your amazing work at JIMHA and all your care as well as volunteer work. Gilbert Igor Alapini is the next one. So this is the certificate for Gilbert. Thank you so much, Gilbert Igor. We also have Bukola Abulahi, our third ambassador. Thank you so much, Bukola, for your work and for being an amazing ambassador. Following up, we have Azaria Kamusime. Thank you, Azaria. An amazing virtual round of applause for you all. Following up, we have Deborah Ifeo Luapo. Thank you, Deborah, for your amazing and selfless work with JIMHA. Next one, we have Panama Panama, Ogenefiro Catherine. Thank you very much, Panama. Would love to acknowledge your work. Next one, we have Madhu David. Thank you, Madhu. Jude is going to send everybody the certificate via email. Following up, we have Precious Oka Parijieger. Sorry, Precious, if I'm mispronouncing your surname. Thank you, Precious, for your amazing, wonderful work at Jimha. We are almost done. So the next one is N. Noki Sheikh. Thank you, Wen, for your amazing work. And finally, we have Evelyn Nogoho Yakasi. Thank you, Evelyn, for your wonderful work. So these are our wonderful and amazing ambassadors. Thank you so much for your effort and dedication to advance Jimha's mission and vision globally. And I also would like to thank all moderators, the panelists and keynote speakers for your amazing message, for sharing your wisdom, and most importantly, your time with us from all over the world. And I also would like to give a special thank for all Jimha board of directors and special advisors, all the planning committee members. There are so many people involved in organizing this summit. And I also would like to acknowledge Empower Your Soul, Magazine International, some of our international supporters. Thank you so much for Empower Your Soul. We also have the Big Comeback Global Godwill Ambassadors Foundation, the Victoria Government, Ethnic Communities Council of Victoria. Would love to also acknowledge the Wellbeing Health Retreats for your amazing work and support, PB Global Advisory LLC, Mandate Health Empowerment Initiative, the Greek Astronomy and Space Company. We also have the support from the Center for Peace Advocacy and Sustainable Development, the Wheel of Hope Rising Foundation. I'm almost done, I promise. Blessing Foundation, the Africos, the New Hope Foundation, the Supportive Activists Foundation, Prius Foundation, Live and Not Die, My Care Body, David's Mayo Dance, and I Care Sustainably. So thanks so much for all the organizational support and to everybody involved in this summit. It's been wonderful to watch the presentations and see the good and positive energy in the room. Thank you. I'm going to hand over back to you, Mahmuda. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Carolina. That was fabulous. And congratulations to all the new ambassadors. I know you're going to find this role fabulous. So much support from Jimha. There's no way we cannot make psychology a household name going forward. Don't forget about the anonymous summit survey. I hope you've all filled that in. And now I'm going to invite somebody I've been waiting to hear from all day, Anthony Neal, who is the Jimha chairperson, governance, high performance, well-being organizational consultant, and he is a well-being health retreats representative. Anthony, are you able to unmute your microphone? And I do believe you are giving us the closing remarks today.
I am, and thank you, Mahmuda. I loved the way how you keep the audience going. It's you've done a magnificent job. Wow, what a What a great stress revolution we've had. And thank you very much to all our presenters. The time and effort presenting such valuable materials, the great spirited talks delivered with so much passion, diligence, and positive energy, the valuable contributions that they've given us. They've given us all these tools, pearls of wisdom. As well, in this stress revolution, we've also witnessed songs and dances which have lifted our spirits. So I want to thank all the presenters for doing that. And what have we learnt? We've learnt what stress is. Why is it so important? What has caused the stress? Our lifestyle, the environment, culture, the economics, all these factors, and the tools that we can use. So you've been given all these valuable tools of mindfulness, being able to manage your thoughts, emotions, feelings, behaviors, your character strengths, your self-worth, and connecting to your true self. We heard beautiful songs and dances. And I'd like to say another giant thanks, which we've already said, but we need to say it again, to all our sponsors, to Jude, all our moderators, and the Jimha team who've worked very hard behind the scenes, who put this wonderful event all together. So what's our next steps now? We need your help. We want your help so you can help us so we can effectively serve the world. We want more volunteers. We need your financial support. We need more connections to expert organisations and government resources. Well, what can you do? Fill your heart with gratitude and kindness. Be the best that you can be. Expand your knowledge. Build your resources so that you can help others if you can. Unite with like souls. Spread your wisdom. Make the world a better place for your children. If you're able to communicate with your government representatives, inspire them to think of ways to improve well-being. Feedback to Jimha, so we can learn to be better so that we can grow our programs. Please support our Facebook programs and future summits. And please inspire others to join our Jimha. Finally, let us join hands and find ways to implement this knowledge that we've been given. Let us influence world leaders and educate the world towards the great global youth mental health need. Thank you. And remember, your well-being is so important. Be optimistic and smile. Over to you, Mahmouda.
Anthony, thank you so much. You know, it's always great to hear from you, and that closing remark was really heartfelt. So I thank you for that. We are going to have a musical performance to end with, High Energy, from Ngosa. I know he entertained us during the masterclass session. Ngosa, are you still with us to take us for the closing musical interlude?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so Ngosa, you shared 2 amazing songs with us earlier. I'm giving you one more opportunity to share with everybody, especially those who were in the masterclass. They missed out on the Don't Worry, Be Happy that we sang along to you, and then the Stand By Me. Oh my gosh, it was just absolutely beautiful. So here we go. The platform is all yours.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm gonna share another song. This is a song that I love to share, especially when, you know, the audience is diverse and rich from all over the world. It's not as known as the other ones that I shared, but I still hope you're gonna enjoy this. So it's a song called Without Love. And it's basically saying that even though you can be the best speaker, or you can be the best musician, the best singer, if you don't do it out of love, your words are empty. If you don't do it out of love, then you're basically making a noise. And so love is what makes the world go round. And even if we're gonna help our friends who are, you know, stressed, and those who are gonna pledge, the previous speaker just spoke so passionately, those who are gonna pledge, you know, to be part of Jimha, to be a positive change in the world, let love be your driving force and let it motivate you to make a difference in the lives of others. So here's Without Love. please, this time we're all gonna sing along. So I'm gonna give you the cue to sing along with me. And yeah, I hope we have fun. Though I speak the tongues of men and even tongues of angels, but I have no love, I'm nothing but a clanging cymbal. Though I hear the gift of prophecy and even understanding of the mysteries of the Almighty, I am nothing without love. Without love, the world would not go round and round, but God is love and it makes the world go round. Without love, the world would not go round and round, but God is love and it makes the world go round. See, the devil is a liar. He wants to divide and rule, and send you to the east and send you to the west and make you fight. He gives you names, he gives you boundaries. Yeah, saying you're black, you're white, you're Asian, American, you're African, no, everybody sing God love. Without love, the world would not go round and round, but God is love and it makes the world go round. Without love, the world would not go round and round. God is love and it makes the world go round. Without love, oh, the world would not go round and round. But God is love. Everybody say ayo, ayo, say ayo, ayo, say ayo. Love one another. Let me hear you respond. Everybody say ayo.
Ayo.
Say ayo.
Ayo.
Ayo. Love one another. Let's take it up. Everybody say ayo.
Ayo.
Without love, the world would not go round and round, but God is love and so without love, the world would not go round and round, but God is love and it makes the world go round. God is love and it makes the world go round. Everybody say ayo.
Ayo.
Love one another.
Love one another.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wow, wonderful. Gosa, thank you so much.
Wonderful.
This is wonderful.
Thank you very much. Heart-soothing.
I tell you, you've got a real talent there, and I hope to see you go like really far. And I thank you once again for joining us here at the Jimha Stress Management Revolution Summit. I know we met you last year and you became an ambassador. Yes.
Yes. Just one Indian. I'm a big fan of Bollywood, right? Singer, right? So in that, may I sing one sentence, right? One line, if you'll permit me.
Okay.
I want to sing. Yeah. अच्छा चलता हूँ दुआओं में याद रखना मेरे जिक्र का जुबां पे स्वाद रखना दिल के संदूकों में मेरे अच्छे काम रखना चिट्ठी तारों में भी मेरा तू सलाम रखना अंधेरा तेरा मैंने ले लिया मेरा उजला सितारा तेरे नाम किया चन्ना मेरे या चन्ना मेरे या चन्ना मेरे या बेलिया. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
I tell you, Professor Kumar, you have blown me away. I did not expect that. I am telling you, you have got an amazing voice. Brilliant, bringing some Bollywood to the rest of the world. Thank you so much for that. And that amazing amount of courage. That's exactly the vulnerability that was spoken about earlier. And it is indeed an amazingly powerful thing, isn't it? Oh my God, thank you for that. And, we are almost at the end of our program, but we want to take one final group photo. So once again, I'm inviting you all to please share your videos, put on your videos. Let's see your beautiful faces. I know it's been almost 4 hours of amazing conversation, great presentations, fabulous music, and I can see Mac Hillary's got his guitar out. He just like Ngosa and like grants, and obviously like me, but well done, Mac Hillary. Thanks for showing us that. So everybody, just turn on your cameras, share your video. We're going to invite our back office once again to take the group photo. Vivian, do you want to collaborate this for us? Can unmute yourself, Vivian. Someone needs to take this final group photo. Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, Edith, thank you so much, Edith. Okay, so everybody, your big smiles. Remember, Victor told us about hope and optimism. Then Gosa came in to reinforce the message of love we heard earlier. Professor Kumar spoke about attitude, skill, and knowledge. So now let's use our skill to smile. Let's put on our positive attitudes. The knowledge that we've gained here should shine through as optimism, and we should have hope for the future. And we're going to combine all this with all this love that we've got bottled up inside us. And we're going to put on our best smiles while Edith takes this final group photo. Thank you so much for being patient.
Mahmouda, maybe they can use the reaction button to put a heart on as well.
That is a brilliant suggestion. So everybody, let's go and press the reaction button. We're looking for the beautiful red heart. Everybody, let's put a heart on our screens with our huge, big smiles. I hope everybody's still with us. Oh, yeah, the hearts start coming up. That is excellent. Edith, if you're ready, we're ready. And I think you might need to keep pressing that heart button because it seems to disappear. So yeah, now we're using our skills, you guys. This is Zoom skills, reaction button. This is the knowledge of technology. So Edith, when you're ready, we're ready for you. Just give us a go ahead and tell us when you've done it. Smile, everybody. Oh, there were some powerhouses today. Everybody smiling.
Well, I captured that.
Done.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And I hope to see all the shares on social media of these amazing smiles and group shots. Oh, it's been a fabulous summit. The vote of thanks was given earlier, but I cannot thank Jimha enough, the board of directors and planning committee, all our partnering organizations. This would never have happened without you all and all the hard work you've put in. And We want you to just meet the team behind the scenes quickly, the Jimha team. We've got Sandeep, who's worked tirelessly bringing us all together. Professor Jude, who you all met earlier today and yesterday. Vivian, thank you so much for the hard work. Tipshika, there are no words to thank you enough. And Edith, you guys have been fabulous throughout the years that I've worked with you. Xavier has been working. Dr. Pramod Rajput, who we heard from earlier, Kibi, Edwin, Gitao, we've got Mr. Roshan. This is the back office, you guys. These are the people that make things happen, the ones that were able to coordinate and pull everything together for us to have an amazing summit. The 2 days that we've spent together have been absolutely fabulous. So we want to thank you all. I know it's quite a huge team in the back office. I cannot name them all, but I'm hoping you're catching their names as we get to the end of the program. I want to thank all the speakers, all the participants, the moderator, Katinda, you did an awesome job yesterday. I want to thank all the masterclass mentors. This was invaluable. Without your participation, we could never have delivered something as amazing. And we look forward to delivering a beautiful event again next year. I hope you'll all be joining us. I hope you'll all be sharing the word about what Jimha is doing, what you learned from Stress Management Revolution Summit. And this is only year 2. We hope to see this program going forward for at least another 10 years, because as Yasmina Sidorovsky said in yesterday's speech, is like, we need to stop focusing on what was the past and we need to readjust to the new. And she told us that it's a world of discovery. There was just so much to take away from everybody who spoke. So as we draw to a close, I want to thank everybody for, spending so much of your time over the weekend with us, with Global Youth Mental Health Awareness, and making this program a huge success. Thank you very much. I am Mahmuda Khan signing out from Zimbabwe, and I hope to be with you all next year.